Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Genesis does.
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free.
Genesis does.
What Nintendo don't? Buy a 16-bit Genesis system between now and October 31st and get an extra game free.
Something that grinded my gears over the week, Matt. We have this follower. I don't even know if he's a follower, but he commented on our Liar Liar post, and he said that he can't stand Jim Carrey. His name is Coleman. I don't want to give yeah. And I'm gonna tell his name, but I don't want to say the full government because internet and all of the legalities, whatnot. But his name is Colman. Coleman, if you're watching this and if you're a follower, you're gonna have to unfollow us because we don't take that. No James Carey slander. As much as we love our followers, as much as we love to have a big following, we have to make sacrifices.
I don't even believe it. You just blanket don't like Jim Carrey. Explain yourself, because that doesn't make. I can't even fathom in a world where there's a human being. You don't like to laugh. You don't like joy. You don't like happiness in your life.
If you were lame, just say that. Just say it. You lame. You don't like Jim Carrey. You don't like you. It starts with looking in the mirror. Coleman.
It's sad, really. I mean, I know we like to say a couple of negative things here or there, but just blanket saying you don't like a goat, you got to add, did he say anything else? Because if you just say that, go F yourself politely, Coleman.
That's all he said. Just, he said enough to show who he is, and that's a lame.
Your name's good for just fucking packing a bologna sandwich. I'll take your fucking lunch pack ass out. I don't like that, Steve. I mean, disparage us all you want. That's fine. But Jim Carrey? Jim fucking Carrey? Fucking savage. I mean, that's the internet, Steve. That just goes to show you.
Yeah. Make sure you make it to the Button Factory on time, Coleman. And, you know, over the week, like watching this Futurama episode, man, there's a dark reality to it that I overlooked over all of these years, man. It would be sad to do what Fry did, man. Like, it would be cool to go into the future, but like, you have to say goodbye to some people. Like, he moved thousands of years ahead of the game. So that's immediate. Say goodbye to mom, dad, grandparents, if they're still there, brother, sister, your family, your friends.
Yeah, there'd be a deep, dark depression right after you got out of the tube where, you know, obviously it's a cut. That show, it's like a snap and he gets through it, whatever. But yeah, man, you don't even get a chance. You just wake up and it's like, oh, wow, I have to go talk to my great grandkid. That does suck. That's crazy though. You don't want to accident into the future. You do want to like have that opportunity. You're right, to like say bye and then get in the time machine. You don't want to just fall back into it or quantum leap, you know, if you're Scott Bakula.
And be stuck there. Like, it's one thing to go there like temporarily, like, all right, I'll be right back. I'm about to go to 2027. But to stay there, like, you don't know what transpired since then. Like, you know, you might have lost somebody close to you, you know, stock market might have crashed. Everybody might be broke. It might be anarchy. You wake up, come out of that chamber, and it's just everybody stabbing each other, shanking each other, shooting each other. Whoa.
Yeah. What if you're just like in rubble, you know, like you get it is just like it could go a million ways. You're right. Thank God he woke up in a hamster tube world, and not your apocalyptic future, Steve. Terminator 2 status. Fucking.
But hopefully in that world, Arnold shows up.
No, you don't want Arnold to show up in that world because he's one of them, right?
But he's a good one of them, though. He sees the error of their ways and he tries to protect humanity.
Yeah. I just want to be like hanging out in the country. Is there a countryside where like humanity can just like chill away from the big city with all the metal robots and death? You know?
Is there an Ohio in the future? a cornfield like
It's like Hobbit.
Chillicothe?
You know, it's like it will turn into hobbits basically, and then there's just that.
Is Chillicothe, Ohio? Yeah. Take me to Dayton, please.
Oh shit. Well, I hope don't fall into any cryogenic chambers, Steve. Stay with us. We got a lot of work to do.
I'm gonna try not to, man. Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your In Vogue tapes and your NSYNC posters, because, ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Shimmy, shimmy, oh, shimmy. Shimmy, shimmy, oh, shimmy.
Is that one of the most iconic, just simplistic rap album covers of all time?
Oh, easily.
I love that.
Easily. Especially for hip hop.
Great. It's going to be on a shirt in 1,000 years, actually. Our great grandkids are going to be wearing that. God willing.
They better. Well, today, my friend, we're talking about all things March 28th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Michael Jordan scored 69 points for the fourth time. He scored 60. For the fourth time, he scored 60 points in a game. And it was against my Cleveland Cavs.
Ouch. Mark Price just getting straight rained upon, Steve.
Mark Price, Larry Nance, Brad Daugherty, Craig Elo.
Hey, man. It's okay.
Mike,
it's Mike, dude. What are you going to do? There's two guys on him. He probably just fucking threw up three right there. God, dude. White dudes in the 90s basketball, just, they look different, Steve. They look like they were going to be in like a Carhartt ad. Some real fucking square-jawed bastards.
Could be the starting shooting guard for the Cleveland Cavs. Could be a woodshop teacher in high school.
Yeah, dude.
But hey, man,
there's no fucking match for Mike, though, dude. God, 60. Can you imagine that? 69 points. One dude. It's like, hey, throw everybody at this guy, please. No.
But you double team him, he'll pass it to Pippen or Horace or Paxson. Like, that's what made it so hard.
Or Bill Cartwright, if God willing, maybe.
That'd always be like the fourth option. But somebody who probably didn't watch this greatness in 1990 is probably Derek Carr, American football player, born in 1991 in Bakersfield, Cali.
Derek. I guess he's the more successful of the Carrs by like just a slim margin. He's really never done anything great. He's just surpassed David,
David Carr. He was the quarterback for the Texans, right?
David is the more handsome one. Derek is the better quarterback. But is he even in the league?
Great question.
I think he was playing for the Saints. Because I think
Once
the
upon a
fucking
time.
well, no, I think the Raiders dumped him because that was like the team that he was on, and then I think the Saints picked him up if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
he's like a backup now, but he's not. Maybe I don't know. I'm speaking out of turn. I'm just happy my team
Yeah.
has a good quarterback.
He's still with the Saints.
Good for him, man. He's still in the league. I mean, he definitely surpassed his brother. David got fucking smashed out of the fucking league. He just kept getting demolished in Houston. I think he played for another team, but I do remember there were some painful years where he was just getting mollywopped.
Rightfully so. Fuck the Texans. In that following year, 1992, CBS broadcast the East Regional Men's Basketball Final between Duke and Kentucky. With 2.1 seconds remaining in overtime, Christian Laettner hit the shot.
Oh yeah. Remember those Sports Illustrated commercials that would come on after these events where they would give you like a commemorative issue and show you like a clip? They played it for a long ass time. They were trying to sell that ish for a while.
That long ass pass from out of bounds, man. Like, for you to pull that off, that's a miracle within itself. And then to catch it right at the free throw line, turn around and do a fadeaway swish, like,
Yeah, dude. You can't even look at Grant. You can't practice that. I mean, that's like an Eli or like a Peyton Manning. I don't want to give Eli that much clout. It's like a Peyton Manning pass, like perfect, precise pass. I mean, to turn around with that much pressure and do it, shout out to Christian Laettner. He was on the dream team, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a ledge.
yeah. He was
Yeah.
on the dream team. And this was actually like one of the first college basketball games that I watched. Duke, they were like rock stars around this time.
Yeah.
They had just won the previous year. They beat they beat UNLV, and this year this was the Final Four. They beat Kentucky on this event, and then they would go on to beat Michigan, the Fab Five. But yeah, man, I actually like Duke. Also, I'm a Tar Heel fan when it comes to college basketball, but at this time, Duke was cool to me. Like, I was a kid, I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, they're popping. That's what kids do. Like, I
Yeah.
like the team that's popping.
That's what I was like with football until I moved to Ohio. I like the Cowboys because they were dominant. I like the Bulls because they were dominant. And Pennsylvania doesn't really have, unless you live in Philly, they don't have a basketball team. I wasn't into the Sixers when I was a little kid. Because how could you be? You know what
They
I
were
mean?
horrible. Yeah. Up
I mean,
until AI.
they had Charles, but he was kind of a villain. I was a little kid. Michael Jordan was just Superman,
Facts. In that 2 years ago, or 2 years later, Pink Floyd releases The Division Bell. And as much of a Pink Floyd fan as I am, man, I still could not listen to this. I will not listen to this again, at least. I forced myself to go through this, and the chemistry is just not there, man.
I mean, I've listened to Pink Floyd's old Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, a lot, especially in college. Wink, wink. But I'm not the biggest Pink Floyd fan. When I'm tripping balls, throw them on because this shit is banging. I don't like to ride around in a car and just blare Pink Floyd. It just kind of, I don't know. It's not that kind of mood for me, but I don't remember this album. I remember this cover,
Yeah.
but I was too young to be listening to. I was too ignorant to listen to Pink Floyd when I was a little kid, Steve.
Especially this version of Pink Floyd, because even when I would play the good Pink Floyd, the older shit in college, you would kind of be like, man, what is this shit?
I mean, it's just like you gotta be in a right state of mind. At least for me, like I guess if I'm getting high and the right song hits, I mean, I definitely like it. It's good music, but just for me, man, I don't know. Definitely, like you said, not this second rate shit.
Yeah, and this was their second album without Roger Waters, who I feel is the nucleus of Pink Floyd. I mean, that's the guy that was around for Dark Side, for The Wall. He's the bass player, and one of the original guys from the All-Star lineup. But that following year, 1995, Soul for Real releases Candy Coated Raindrops. You're the same, my candy rain. Dun, 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 dun.
You got to get that little hit in at the end, Steve. That little period on the end. Doon, 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 doon. That's, I mean, this shit, like, we were talking about this. Boy band vibe here, but what I gotta say is the balls for this young kid to be the front man of this group, 3 other adult dudes, and he's got to be out here throwing out game like an adult man. Like, I couldn't do this. Little fat me, I'd be fucking girl. Like, I can't do it, dude.
And they're all brothers, if I'm not mistaken, man. But they look like they could be his uncle.
Yeah, I mean, the age range is wacky, and he was definitely a mistake. And we're like, damn, another one? Okay, but he just ended up having the talent, Steve, you know?
He does, man. It's always the youngest one. And this also has a track called Every Little Thing I Do, You're on My Mind. I think about you, baby, driving me crazy. You are on my mind.
Was there a follow-up album to this? Did Soul for Real get a second album, or?
Bro, I think they were one and done, if I'm not mistaken, man.
Oh, shit. Well, they had that banger of a song, though, so salute to them. That was just that alone.
Yeah. They put out another one, actually, called For Life. They put out a couple albums. They put For Life out in 1996. They had one called Heat in 1999, and that was their last one.
And then they went crazy street after that. Then they had one called Kill a Motherfucker.
Put that pussy on my mustache.
Shit, dude. Well, I mean, honestly, though, I hope whatever the guy's name was at this front man of this group, I hope now when maybe he has a wife, but when he was dating, he got to put the Candy Rain on and just be like, yeah, that was me.
That same day in 95, Big L, R.I.P., releases Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. And, he's one of those rappers who died way too soon. I believe he was still in his 20s when he passed, man. And he was actually murdered in Harlem, in his home borough.
Damn. I got to be honest with you, Steve. I don't know of Big L. I listened to the album that I could find that seems pretty good, but I don't remember this dude. Obviously, he was cut short a little bit.
Yeah, he died in 99. He at the age of 24. And, he's talked about a lot in hip hop circles, man. He's about the same age as Jay-Z and Nas. He was around that era, like Big Pun. There's some like very candid videos of him freestyling with people who are considered legends now, like Jigga, like a Nas. So he was sharing the same circles as those guys, and he was projected to be like one of the greatest New York MCs, man. But on this album, Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, you hear a lot of that Illmatic influence, that boom bap, because this is 95. So, that's still a thing, as well as the G-Funk, but he just represented that pure New York sound, man.
So you said he was shot?
Yeah, he was murdered in Harlem.
Damn, Big L. I never heard of this dude. That's crazy. But this is why we do the show, Steve. The education.
Hit 9 times in the face and the chest, man. R.I.P.
Damn.
But on that same day, Old Dirty Bastard releases Return to the 36 Chambers, the dirty version, and Fuck, Marry, Kill. This Wu Stan right here went ballistic at 12 years old, or 11 going on 12.
What year was this?
95.
Yeah, I didn't catch on to this right away. But I do believe that, was this when he went on that MTV thing where he went and collected? Yeah. So that's how I originally found out about him, because I think I saw that when they first aired it on MTV, right when I first got MTV.
Well, because he was being interviewed because of this. You know, when artist is releasing an album, MTV News would have like this close personal interview with the person, so you can get a feel for their vibe. What kind of person is he? And like, man, this was a great introduction as an artist, because it showed who he is. Like, man, I'm Dirt McGirt. I'm the old Dirt Dog. Shit, you know.
I think he was in a limo too, wasn't he? He was doing an interview in a limo, and then he collected government assistance checks or like whatever it was. Yeah, dude, that shit was hilarious. Was it Kurt Loder interviewing him? That would have been great. So, Mr. Bastard.
It might have been. And the video for Shimmy Shimmy Ya, it's like a callback to Soul Train. They gave it like this 70s vibe where, you know, people are doing the dance line and stuff. And, you know, it's Dirt, man. Like I think he's trying to like project a Dolomite image. Like,
I mean, do you think he was like cognizant of that, or this was just who he was?
that's who he was, man. You
That's
know,
crazy,
and
dude.
he was so swaggy that he didn't even have to have a second verse. He basically repeated the same thing. Give me the mic so I can take it away. And then he did it again. It's the same exact verse, but like the song is so dope, we didn't even care.
Yeah, man. And like I said, the cover to this is gonna live on. Just be like, this guy's dead, and this fucking this image is it's immortalized. It's gonna be on T-shirts, whatever, forever until they don't do that anymore.
Needs to be in the Smithsonian.
That'd be great. I hope they do that. Please do that, Smithsonian. You need to.
But in 1997, The Sixth Man premieres in theaters. A college athlete returns from the dead to help his brother's basketball team win the NCAA title. Directed by Randall Miller, starring Marlon Wayans, Kadeem Hardison, Kevin Dunn, Michael Michelle, David Paymer, and Harold Sylvester. It's Al Bundy's buddy.
Man, I love these like 90s Marlon Wayans. He had another one called Senseless with David Spade. Just wacky comedies, dude. This movie, I don't remember this as much, but the fact it's got Kadeem Hardison and him in it, it's got to be, I mean, it's funny, you know. He's good at this.
Kadeem Hardison was quietly killing it in the 90s, man. Of course, he was in this. He was in Different World, like the tail end of it. White Man Can't Jump.
Mm-hmm.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Man, I feel like he was in, we're not remembering everything, but yeah, man. Also, Marlon Wayans, obviously, too.
Of course.
And like, I like these, like, just these kind of comedies. Low budge. I mean, they were trying to do some special effects where Kadeem's like an angel in it. I mean, it's kind of got that like Angels in the Outfield vibe. You know, they're getting like assistance from angels to win these games and stuff.
Yeah.
But I love that.
The innocence of the 90s, man. Like, I feel like this was the last decade where you could pull something off like this and people would still watch it like that.
And not just think it's like corny Hallmark Channel shit, you know?
Exactly, man. Like, this is the TGIF era. We're still innocent as a country, I think. You know, the 9/11 hasn't raped us yet.
I mean, yeah, it is weird. You don't see this kind of thing that much. We have a lot of resurgences and like they're bringing shit back, but this kind of tone of shit, and even just like this kind of comedy where it's just kind of a low budget, just funny. The closest thing to this I saw was that John Cena movie that we were talking about. That's the Nicky movie, you know?
Oh, and Michael Michelle. That was JC's fiance from New York Undercover. The fine, light-skinned. She was also in New Jack City. She was Nino Brown's girlfriend.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, she's the love interest on this, man.
Shout out to Marlon Wayans. Just quiet. Him and the Wayneses in general, but he just was getting these like little roles and just keep like elevating himself a little bit. Cause he also was like in Dungeons and Dragons movies and stuff. And that wacky drug movie that we used to watch.
Can never remember it. I know exactly what you're talking about with the mom was trying to lose weight and
Jared Leto, dude.
Jared Leto.
I'll figure it out. I'll try to remember that.
Requiem for a Dream. We got
Boom. What the fuck?
We work well together, Matt. That
Nice.
same day in 97, Baps premieres. Two tacky homegirls move to LA to become dancers. Instead, they scam a dying millionaire, but eventually become Baps, Black American princesses. Directed by Robert Townsend, starring Holly Berry, Martin Landau, Ian Richardson, Natalie Desselle, Pierre Edwards, Faison Love, Bernie Mac, and AJ Johnson.
AJ Jones.
AJ Johnson.
I don't know why I saw this when I was a little kid, but this movie's fun. Like, it wouldn't be something I would expect to want to pick up, but I remember when I watched it, I was like, oh, wow. And also, at one point in this, Martin Landau has like a do-rag on and a wife beater and stuff, and it's Martin Landau, so that's pretty fun.
It's R.I.P., man. You know, he actually won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Ed Wood. I want to say a couple years prior. That was, what, 94, 95? Yeah. And, you know, I went into this like very reluctantly because I never seen it. I just thought it was tacky. I thought it was a poor representation of Black people, but there's a sense of heartwarming, believe it or not, in this, because even though they're kind of thotty and like hood riders, whatever, they still have some diplomacy about them because they feel bad that they're doing this to a dying man. And I believe the plan was for them to go along with this whole ruse of, oh, I am the great granddaughter of your old girlfriend who was Black, who you couldn't date at the time back in the 50s, 60s or whatever. So here I am a representation of the girl you dated. And Martin Landau, we find out he knew that the whole time, that she didn't even have kids, but he just went along with it because he liked their energy. And, you know, everything worked out in the end, man.
Yeah, it's just like kind of a fun. There's really no way to explain it to people. You just have to watch it, because even if you just read like the description on IMDb, it doesn't do it as much justice. Plus, you get Halle Berry kind of. She's still fine as fuck. It's Halle Berry. She's got that little hood radish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's got the little gold teeth shit. And the other chick's hilarious too. I forget her name.
Natalie Desselle.
Yeah, she's funny as fuck.
No longer with us either, man. R.I.P. to her.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a couple casualties because, like I said, Bernie Mac was in this movie too, man. AJ Johnson as well. So
AJ Johnson's dead.
Yeah, not the fine one from Baby Boy, the AJ Johnson, Ezel.
Yeah, he's dead?
Yeah, he passed away 2 years ago, I believe.
God damn. God damn, time. Stop this. AJ Johnson.
Speaking of stopping time, in 1999, Futurama debuts on Fox with the episode titled Space Pilot 3000. A pizza delivery boy named Fry awakens from a state of suspended animation and finds himself in a futuristic world populated by aliens, robots, and spaceships.
It's such a great introduction to the show. I love somebody just accidenting into the future too. Just the way they set this up, this whole show. It's just like a stupid way for a human to become like, to get in. It's not like a time machine or anything. He just trips and falls. I love it.
No DeLorean, no Dr. Brown.
He's just a pizza guy, man. It's 1999, dude. And I love that he's trying to deliver these pizzas to this place. He's looking like, who is this for? Because nobody's answering. It's I.C. Wiener. Fucking, it's just so fucking stupid. That's definitely a Matt Gettick fucking joke.
Yeah, or Jerky Boys. And his life is miserable in present time. You know, he starts off playing an arcade game, Monkey Fracas Jr., and he's got a delivery to make to I.C. Wiener. Along the way, as he's making his delivery, he sees his girlfriend with another guy, and that's how he finds out she's leaving him. And, you know, he gets past that, and then she also says that she's leaving his things on the sidewalk. And while making the delivery, he gets his bike stolen.
I lived in LA. This sounds like my life in LA. It's just like, God damn it, stop. So he's got a pizza that I.C. Wiener's not going to be eating. And he turns around. Turns out he's delivered it to like a cryo chamber facility, which, you know, I love this idea also, Steve, because this is a thing. People think that this could, you know, I get in the show it works, but like, do you remember those creepy stories where like Ted Williams, the baseball player and shit, did this? And I mean, I think Ted Williams, like, he shattered. Like, they broke him. They broke his frozen body. So, you know, they basically killed him. But he bought into this shit.
Yeah, and that's some Demolition Man shit. Because isn't that what happened in Demolition Man?
I mean, they definitely cryo froze people, but I don't know what the technology is in real life. But here, Fry basically is in this place. He's looking around. They're counting down the fucking time. He's pissed off. His life sucks, and he trips and falls right into one of these cryo things. No safety mechanism. Falls in. The countdown basically turns from New Year's into Fry's Frozen. And as soon as midnight hits on 1999, whatever the shit is, just he's in there now, Steve. And time's just fucking going.
Time elapses, and he finally gets out, and he looks out the window, and things just aren't the same way as they were before.
And we do see like the time lapse as he's frozen, and we see the world has basically ended and begun a couple of times too, in this weird future that Matt Groening thought of. So now it's the year 3000 or what? Yeah. Yep.
Well, it's about to be because it's
29
December 31st, 2999. Yeah.
There's hamster tubes everywhere. There's blimps. You know, I would have thought that technology would be gone, but there's blimps around still. That's pretty dope, I guess. And it's the future, Steve. He's here.
And we're introduced to Leela for the first time. And he's thrown off because she's a Cyclops. And he's like, I have a question. You're not about to ask me about my eye, are you? Yeah, what's up with the eye? I'm an alien. Oh, all right.
I like that Fry is like, what year is it? And she tells him that it's 2999. He's like, it's been 1,000,000 years. Like, dude, did you do math?
That's why you a delivery boy.
Yeah, dude. And as he's thinking about that, he gets put in something called, I think, the probulator. Which
The probulator.
I think it's calculating if there's anybody with his blood there now. And turns out his great nephew is somewhere in the city, but you know, you can't just walk away out of this situation, Steve. You got to be chipped and given a fate. Basically, they got to tell you what to do for the rest of your life.
It's real big brother style, man. Like, you're gonna have to get a job. Word to Craig. And like his permanent career, we find out, is a delivery boy.
Damn.
And Fry tells Leela, like, look, I cannot be a delivery boy anymore. Like, that's not my life. I'm not cut out for it. She's like, no, like, you're gonna have to get down or lay down on some state property shit. Like, I'm gonna put this chip in you and you're gonna be a delivery boy. And so, like, they get into a tussle, and eventually Leela falls into the cryogenic chamber, and she's set back to 1,000 years behind. She's supposed to go where Fry is supposed to be. And he's like, all right, deuces, I'll see you later. And then he has a change of mind, and he comes back and he sets it for 5 minutes later. It's like, you owe me one. Remember this shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. Plus, he's like, she's pretty hot for a Cyclops, so there might be a little issue there later. So now Fry's like out on the street in the future and just kind of taking it all in. It's very Demolition Man, like Sylvester Stallone. What are the 3 C's shells? What are these tubes? Fry sees what he believes to be a phone booth. Apparently there's still a thing in the future, and he gets in line. And here we meet, for the first time, another buddy of his, Bender, the robot. But turns out that what Fry's actually waiting in line for isn't a phone booth, Steve. It's a suicide booth, which, God forbid. I mean, like, let's put a little more visual on this. Should accident into that.
And before he realizes this, Bender hops in with him, and he makes a selection.
2 for 1.
Yeah. And the prompt asks, do you want quick and painless or slow and painful? And he's just like, dude, I'm just trying to make a collect call. All right, slow and painful.
But, you know, really the technology is iffy, and they just kind of belly dance, you know, out of there. They just avoid the knives and saw blades and stuff. And time to get a drink, Steve. Fry's got a buddy now. And apparently robots drink, so that's pretty cool.
And back at Leela's job, like her boss is telling him, like, you got to find Fry. You have to install that chip. And he's got no other options. You have no other options. You need to find that man and put that chip in. If you don't, that's your job.
I mean, we don't got much need for Cyclopses here, lady, so chop chop. So we cut to the pub, and Fry and Bender are getting drunk. Fry's kind of like amazed, like I would be, that robots drink. And we're just kind of learning stuff about Bender. You know, his name's Bender. His job is a bender. He bends stuff. He used to be the best bender on the force, Steve.
On those girders.
But, you know, some shit happened. That's what led him to a suicide booth. Now he's here popping bottles with Fry. Just having a good old time.
Guilty conscience, man, because we find out that he was bending those girders for suicide booths. And he didn't like that. You know, he's like, man, I'm doing the devil's work. You know, I can't wake up every day and like report to do this.
I'm a fucking robot, god damn it. I'm Bender, god damn it.
All right.
But as they're talking and we're finding this tragic shit out, Leela shows up at the pub. Apparently that one eye can just see through walls. She found him, Steve, in the future.
Like CBS.
And she starts chasing them, which leads them into something that we see a bunch in this show, the Head Museum, Steve. Old celebrities, you don't go to heaven. They cut your head off and they throw you in a fucking little aquarium shit, and you just get to live in the Head Museum, Steve. So Nixon's here, fucking, you know, Dom DeLuise is around someplace.
Leonard Nimoy, Spock himself.
If you're somebody, you're gonna make it here, you know. But Leela catches up. Fry's doing a dipsy-do, knocks Nixon off the shelf and just breaks his ass. You don't die, but Nixon's fucking pissed off, Steve.
It starts nibbling on Fry.
And I love the security guards, or like the cops show up, and they have these really impressive like baton looking things that look like lightsabers. And you're like, oh shit, he's gonna cut him, but it's just a baton. So they just start whooping his ass with this fucking thing. It's great. It makes a great noise too.
Rodney King style. And Leela tries to interject, and one of the officers says, keep your big nose out of this, eyeball. And that's when she's fed up. She's like, no one makes fun of my eyeball. And Leela starts kicking ass.
Yeah, she has like ninjutsu skills, dude. She's like the fucking like Arnold Schwarzenegger of this group. Bender and Fry get trapped. They're in this room, but what a great place to be caught with Bender the robot, because all he has to do, Steve, he didn't think he could do it, but bend them bitches out. Get out of this thing. Easy escape.
He's unstoppable. He can bend anything he wants, whenever he wants. And then his arms fall off.
Oops. Then Leela finds them again. Like, this bitch is on it, Steve. She's good at her job, but she doesn't like her job. It's like a lot of us, you know?
By the way, I love my job, for anyone watching.
Okay, thanks,
I love
Steve.
you guys. And all my coworkers are great human beings.
That was not in any way related to Steve's life, but, you know, read between the lines.
I need that owl sign. His thoughts and opinions do not reflect mine.
We both need that sign, Steve. I'm going to get that sign made. We're both going to get one. But they don't listen to Leela. She wants them to wait. They run away, and they run into this underground area of you know, this world that we see, and it's basically the old world. You know, they just build on top of it.
Yeah, it's just crumble. And you know, Leela, she catches them again, and you know, she's about to put the chip in, and she has a change of heart this time. She's just like, you know what? I don't even want to do this job anymore. I'm going to do something I've been wanting to do for a while. I think I'm going to quit today.
Fuck it. And so they're all deserters, which I guess is a crime in this time period. So Fry's, they're all trying to figure out what to do, where to go. You can't stay in fucking old New York. It's all fucking grody. It looks fucking nasty, and there's probably mole people and shit. So Fry's like, you know what? I got a great whatever nephew in the city. Let's go pop a visit over.
And
He's
mooch
probably
off of
pretty
him.
cool. Hell yeah, dude. So we go over to his nephew's house. But his nephew, when you think that, he's like, his nephew's this young guy, whatever. His nephew's an ancient dude because he's been in a fucking cryo freeze for 1,000 years. He's watching TV, but you can tell that this guy, he's smart. You know how you can tell that, Steve? Glasses and a lab coat. I don't care if you are smart. If you have that on, I'm going to assume you are and that you're into some kind of cool science. So
Professor Farnsworth.
he might not have pants on, though, which is questionable, but still. Turns out also this guy in his apartment, he's got an intergalactic ship, Steve, that he designed. That's pretty convenient.
He's showing off his hardware, all of his valuable goods. Like, yeah, I'm a successful person. Look at my spaceship. Look at my Fabergé eggs. Like that's taking up the whole corner. And like these are my, Peabody Awards. And while that's going on, the police have them surrounded. They got helicopters hovering and everything. And the immediate thought is the spaceship. And Leela asks, "Can we escape on this spaceship?" And Farnsworth's just like, "Yeah, we might. Let's try it out." It's one of those kind of deals. Yeah, we might not.
But, as they're taking off, Steve, the cops are waiting. They got guns trained. They got lasers, but God knows what other crazy 3,000-year weaponry they have. But the year's ringing in. Year 3000's about to happen. So they take off. 5, 4, 3. And as they get out of the sky and the time's coming down and the cops are about to shoot them out of the sky, the year rings in and all these beautiful fireworks come out because they still do that in the future. Shoot off fireworks. And it hides the ship enough that they can escape all the lasers. And it fucking works out great, Steve. They escape. No death necessary.
A diversion, man. Like the cops were thrown off by all the fireworks that they couldn't even pick out the spaceship. And Farnsworth, now that they've escaped, they're safe and everything, he offers them positions in his crew. And he actually has the career chips from that previous crew. It's like, you don't even need schooling. You don't need training. I got you covered. Just injection of a chip. And Fry's like, cool, I get to work for my great nephew. So what am I going to do? It's like, well, you're going to transport the cargo to its destination. So I'm going to be a delivery boy. Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
And apparently Leela's got a job as the driver. But I do like, obviously something awful happened to the old crew because everybody's like, hey, what happened to that old crew? And Dr. Farnsworth's like, yeah, you don't need to know about that. Don't worry about that. They're fine. Or not.
Don't think you need to know or want to know.
But that's it, Steve. Pilot done. Fry's got a job. He's got a social security number. He's got a paycheck. He's got a place to, and maybe some hot fucking one-eyed puss, with a hot voice.
Matt Groening's got a second show under his belt now too.
And I think maybe I was talking to my wife about this, like why I didn't watch this like religiously like I did The Simpsons. And I think it was again, like I thought it was in some way competing with The Simpsons for coolness. And I was like, I'm a Puritan. I'm a Simpsons purist. I can't be watching this second-rate shit, but it's so good, man. Right from the bat.
A Simpson stan. And, this is the most successful pilot in Fox history, or at least at the time. It's the most watched pilot.
And it's got great talent. I mean, fuck, we even get a Howard Stern connection with Billy West in this shit.
West, yeah.
And Leela's, what is her name? I can never remember. Kate, whatever.
Oh, Katie
Seagal.
Katie Seagal.
So hot.
Even the character, man. It's just that one thing can't get around. But somebody who probably didn't watch this debut of Futurama in 1999 is probably Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, because WWF is airing WrestleMania 15 at First Union Center, currently called Wells Fargo. Fuck that bank, as well as the teams who play there, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And, tis the season, Matt.
It's WrestleMania, Steve. And not only are we the city of brotherly love, but we get a fucking Star-Spangled Banner from Boys to Men, Philadelphia's own.
Philly's finest.
Damn.
They're better than that. But hey, we still love you, Boys to Men. And they do it justice, as you would imagine. Even the guy at the end of all the songs, the bassy voice, they held it down.
Hey,
And
America. What's up?
yeah, hey America, I know they're not treating you right. I don't know where I was going with that, but what a way to kick this off, man. And then we have a Freddie Blassie vignette. He's still with us at this time. He would actually die in October of this year. Yeah.
R.I.P. to the classy one. Well, the first match, Steve. Also, JR is not announcing most of this pay-per-view. And I wanted to ask before we get into it, this is right around when he had his health issue, correct?
Bell's palsy. And I want to correct myself. Freddie Blassie, he passed away in 2003. It was actually Gorilla who would pass away in October of this year, who's going to be seen. This is going to be his last time seen in WWF. But yeah, he took some time off, and I believe Michael Cole with like a musical chairs of co-hosts would come on the Raw.
Well, I think Michael Cole's the one doing the announcing with King for most of this. He's doing a good job, but that's notable. I mean, we hate to not have a JR on the announce team. That was a tragic few months.
For sure, man. And I mean, starting off, it's a hardcore match. ECW has definitely had a full influence around this time, man. And it's going to be Al Snow, who used to be on ECW, Hardcore Holly, and badass Billy Gunn.
He's an ass man. Down. Yeah, Al Snow, I gotta say, I forgot about that guy. Head, just a weird fucking gimmick. Gotta be annoying just to be walking around with a fucking mannequin head. And I also forgot about Hardcore Holly, who looks like a brick shithouse, but I never enjoyed Hardcore Holly, Steve. You don't have to tell me you're hardcore, okay? If you gotta say that, I don't believe it.
Yeah, man. But I gotta say, Al Snow, another OHIO representative, straight out of Lima. And, yeah, doing well, apparently, man. He's like a coach now. He's a trainer for up-and-coming wrestlers. And I believe he's based out of that OVW arena. I think he has something to do with that. But he's still in good shape. And, I was pulling for Al Snow. I tried to avoid the cheat sheets while watching this because I forgot some of these matches. And, Head, man, like that shit was catching on fire, dude. I don't know if you remember when he would come out, people would go crazy for that thing, that mannequin head, and like it sold, bro. He was on fire with that gimmick.
I wonder when they came up with that, if he's like, God damn it, this ain't gonna catch fire. But you're right, it did. Like, I remember, like, because he'd come out and they did like put him in like the spotlight and shit. He just started like fucking wailing that shit. Yeah, so he was kind of. Hardcore Holly was just always kind of just like an asshole to he was just kind of like Bradshaw to me, where he just was like shit talking and he'd rough you up. I mean, the guy looks like a wrestler. Right? He looks like Eminem if he took elephant levels of steroids.
I mean, by all accounts, he's a real badass dude. Like, unlike Bradshaw, who was a dick to everybody in the locker room, like Hardcore Holly just kept to himself. And people knew not to fuck with him. Like, he wasn't disrespectful. He wasn't an asshole to people. He was just like, my job's done. On to the next town. Don't nobody fuck with me. We could shake hands and, keep it short. I respect that.
I mean, I do like a quiet badass, so I apologize. Hardcore Holly, if you're watching this, please don't rough me up. But there was a funny Philadelphia moment in this where Al Snow grabs like a hockey stick from somewhere, maybe under the ring, and just the whole arena is just like, "Let's go Flyers, let's go." I was like, "Hell yeah, Philadelphia! I'll respect that."
Got to, man. This is ECW territory, and there's some crispy chair shots. A couple to the head, and you can hear the echo of those chair shots, man. Billy, he hits a Faymaster on the Al Snow onto a chair, and he goes for the pin, but he catches a chair to the back from Hardcore Holly. He steals his pin and gets the win. Hardcore Holly is the new Hardcore champ.
I mean, the ass man is just in tears. No, he's not. But yeah, this was like a thing. I forgot about the hardcore title. I mean, it's a fairly new thing, I think. It couldn't be that old of a belt. Maybe a year or two, but
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I hated to see Badass lose, but we're seeing that DX is just sort of, it's on its way out, Steve, and I hate that. That's why I didn't care for this that much. It made me sad in a way. We're seeing a lot of things pass from when the good old days.
The beginning of the end of sorts. You see Triple H, he's starting to careen over to the corporation side. But next match is D'Lo and Test. I don't know how that became a thing. I totally forgot about that. Versus Owen Hart and JAWWET.
Well, I think D'Lo and Test, they showed like a clip from I think like a Sunday night show where D'Lo and Test won some sort of battle royale to be the people who went against Jeff Jarrett. So they have no allegiance to each other. And Test, I don't know, dude. Test, he's like basically Dalton from Roadhouse. He's just like a bodyguard, dude.
Yeah.
Big as fuck, but I was never a big Test fan either.
Same. And R.I.P. to him. He's no longer with us. He did smash Stacy Keibler. They were dating for a while, and just off that alone, you're a legend. But yeah, man, Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett. I feel like this is one of the last tag teams of the Attitude Era, like an actual tag team, because they would pair together. They didn't have a name for them, but the focus was starting to become less and less on the tag team division. It was more on the solo guys.
Well, and there was two like ring chicks that came out. We got Deborah that came out with Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett, and I forgot about Ivory. That's one of the diva I didn't remember at all.
She was a part of PMS, I think, when it was Stevie Richards, the Godfather. I think Val Venus went over to PMS. No, not PMS. That was the name of another staple. It was Right to Censor.
Well, they didn't censor Deborah's outfit because, goddamn, Steve, how did they even wrestle? How could the king fucking just sit there and not just say puppies over and over again?
I've always loved Deborah, and she's coming out, them legs looking nice, the breasts.
I mean, and God bless.
And she loves the Steves. She was Steve McMichael's wife. She broke up with him, divorced him, and then she would marry Steve Austin until, he put them paws on her, and then that ended abruptly. But hey, this Steve is here for you, Deborah. I'll never hit you.
And we have to mention that it's said in this is actually Owen Hart's 10th WrestleMania appearance. They mentioned 10th? That in the broadcast. 10th WrestleMania appearance.
I'd have to
look it up.
The archives.
You might have to see what Michael Cole was saying, because that's who said it, Steve. So if you got a fucking note, take it up with fucking Michael Cole.
All right, Mikey.
And I think like soon after this, Owen Hart is when that shit happened. His accident happened. It wasn't too much longer after this. So, this is one of his last like big appearances. And, this match is decent. There's D'Lo, there's a couple of things that he did. He did like a crazy power bomb. And I'm trying to look at my notes here, but I don't really have a lot of notes. It was just like basically my opinions about the people, and the match was just kind of so-so, if you ask me.
It was so-so. You know, I always like the thing D'Lo does where he stands above him and he does the little point, the little neck thing, and does the leg drop. That was always cool. He got
Oh,
that
yeah.
in a couple times. And at some point, Owen Hart drop kicks D'Lo, and that leads to Jeff Jarrett doing a schoolboy roll up. Jarrett gets the pin, and Owen Hart and Double J are still the champs.
Woo! I mean, don't piss me off, slap nut. Don't look at Deborah's titties like that. And then we got another smoke it if you got it match here. It's not even a match. This is one of those boxing shits, the brawl for it all, Steve.
Brawl for all, man.
Butterbean.
Versus Bart Gunn. They even gave it a Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Yeah, man. Butterbean's alive though, right? Like he's actually trying to like get back into shape, I think. So shout out to Butterbean for still being alive. That's insane.
Shout out to Diamond Dallas Page because he's doing the Lord's work, man. He's the guy that's putting some of these dudes together. Like it's because of DDP, Scott Hall was spared some years. If it wasn't for him, like we probably would have lost him much sooner, man.
He's trying to fucking get Buff Bagwell back at least into the living world. God, I love that DDP's like the Mother Teresa of retired wrestlers. He's just like, are you crumbled, like, just broken dude from wrestling? Let me just fucking get you back into shape. That shit must work, dude. I mean, even regular people. I saw some, I mean, he's putting the videos out, so I'm assuming they're true, but some of the transformations he's had just of like normal people, I mean, goddamn, that shit must be intense.
I mean, Jake the Snake's still with us, so it's definitely doing something, man. And this was, you know, you could see the beginning of the end for Bart Gunn because you can't come back from this. You know, he climbed the ranks of this tournament. He was knocking guys out. I think he fought Godfather at some point. I can't remember the preliminaries, man. But all of the guys that were in this brawl for all are legit badass dudes. Hardcore Holly was in it. Godfather, Bart Gunn. Mark Merrow was in it, and you know we joke about Mark Merrow, but the guy was actually like a boxer. And you know I bring all that up to say for Butterbean to just do quick work of Bart Gunn in 35 seconds, like that shows the power of his punch, because Bart Gunn, he got through some pretty tough guys himself, and Butterbean just comes in there like, yeah, what.
I mean, it's 30, it's not 40 seconds. Let's put it like that. And it takes those big ass dudes like 15 to get to each other from the corners. So it's 2 shots and Bart's dick hits the dirt hard. So this was real. This was a legit boxing match. This was not fake.
Yeah. They wanted to do something reality based, but at the same time, they kind of had what they had envisioned was Dr. Death Steve Williams to be the winner, because by all accounts, he was a tough dude. So they were just like, oh, let's put Steve Williams in there. He's going to win. And if I'm not mistaken, he lost the first round. And so it's like, well, shit, like, what do we do now? We got this Bart Gunn guy, because I think Bart Gunn is the guy who knocked him out. It's like, well, all right, let's put all of our emphasis behind him. And, you know, he makes it to the finale, and this shit was all for naught, because, you know, the introductions were longer.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Plus Bart Gunn, I mean, it's just not, he's not Billy Gunn, and he's not like charismatic at all. So if you came back from this, it would take an incredible promo to make me forget you unconscious with your eyes rolling back in your head, while Butterbean, at one of his fattest I've seen him compete at, just knocks you to fucking hell. I mean, did you train at all? Do you know how to box? Because damn.
And before this match, man, I forgot that they showed Isaac Hayes. He was in the crowd, RIP.
Oh, yeah.
And They also have the Mean Street Posse, Shane's Boys in there, and Vinny Pacienza. He was the special guest referee, with the judges being Kevin Rooney, Iron Mike's former trainer, Chuck Wepner, who I guess Rocky was based off of, and Gorilla Monsoon, man. Like I said, this was his final appearance. And at this point, we already knew he was a legend. He was a Hall of Famer. You know, me and you remember him from the times with Bobby Heenan, you know, doing the commentary, man. But, you know, he was a beast in his wrestling days too.
Just a legend all around. One of the greatest commentators and one of the greatest names. Just if you just want to say cool names, Gorilla. I've said it before. Gorilla Monsoon. That's just power. Max power. It's not. That's not even as powerful as Gorilla Monsoon. So that's crazy.
Even light a candle.
No, not at all.
And we get a cameo from the San Diego Chicken, and he's in there. He's fucking around with Vinny, the Tasmanian Devil, and you know he catches a uppercut to the beak for his troubles.
Yeah, well, it's not the last time we're going to see this chicken come around. But yeah, Bart Gunn basically solidified being just out of the WWF at a certain point. The next match is, on paper, a great one. Big Show versus Mankind, Steve. And this is Big Show, Paul White, at his scariest. He's gigantic. He's over 500 pounds.
He has a ponytail.
He's got the hair. He's got the voluptuous hair. And I think before this, they showed some sort of like clip about Big Show brawling with Mankind, and they were going to have some sort of a match to determine who the referee of the Rock Austin match was, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that's what this is.
That's what the stipulation was,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's what it is, man. And, you know, this is Paul White, like we said, and this is a Mr. Sacco Mankind with that disgusting sock he pulls out that just gotta suck when you see that that's the guy you have to face. It's like, yeah, he's gonna do that at some point. You're like, God damn it.
He looks like he stinks. I can smell him through the picture. And he comes down the aisle, Mankind, and he already has a referee shirt on. He just knows he's going to win this match. And, you know, to me, this match is just not interesting at all. Even though I'm a fan of both of them, you know, at one point, Mankind is on Big Show's back, and he's got the mandible on him with his Sacco, referee edition Sacco, and Big Show eventually, he just pancakes him. It's like,
dude, his face though, when he's getting the mandible put on him, it looks like he's like, it looks like it stinks or something. He's having a bad reaction.
probably did.
But this match ends in a DQ. I remember that. Like, I don't remember exactly why, but Mankind wins by DQ. But, you know, that's not the end of this, Steve. This is.
He got DQ'd by getting slammed. He slammed him through the chairs.
Is that why he got? Okay. Well, he continues to use the chairs on Mankind, slamming the fuck out of him. Then Vince McMahon walks out. Because basically Big Show was Vince McMahon's ticket to have like a guy ref the Austin Rock match. He wanted to have his guy in there.
From the corporation.
Yeah. So he's pissed. And he's coming out full Vince. And in this moment, Steve, this shows you the mind state of Vince McMahon. And this gives you an insight to me as to why this guy could be an insane lunatic. Because what we see here is a man who's 1/10 the size of Big Show. He walks up, he says, "You're a nobody, you're a piece of shit," and he slaps Big Show just, I mean, goddamn like a pimp, Steve. And Big Show doesn't like that, but that's what I'm saying. In that moment, Steve, that shows you the mind of Vince McMahon. He wrote or had somebody write, he's like, yeah, it's totally plausible I'm going to walk out and slap this guy because I'm Vince fucking McMahon. So that shows you. That's full confidence. And I do enjoy that.
And he's a nobody. And after doing this, he's about to get chokeslammed, and Big Show has a change of heart. Like, damn, he is the one signing my checks. So, you know, I'm gonna spare him. And he's like, yeah, that's right. You don't do it because you're a nobody. And I'm Vince McMahon. And then he catches one, a haymaker right to the forehead.
Tweety
and,
birds.
Yeah, man. And it takes Pat Patterson and his boy Jerry Briscoe to come out and escort him out.
What
I
are we
want
gonna
that big
do,
son of a
boss?
bitch.
What are we gonna do, boss?
I want him arrested for assault. And then I want him arrested right now.
And meanwhile, also, just as a side note, Mankind, who was the other option to be the ref, he's going to the hospital because he's all fucked up. So, you know, one guy possibly going to jail, the other's going to the hospital. So we don't know who the ref's going to be in that match. All we know is Vince. I mean, get this guy a blood pressure cuff because he might pop, Steve. We need to get this guy a sedative because he is at a level that it's past 10 at this point.
I'm sure he has a cryogenic chamber or two.
Shit. He's got some kind of chamber, Steve, that we're never going to get to see, but it's probably pretty cool.
Probably, or a dungeon.
But this next match, Steve, I love this. If only we get a Road Dogg appearance at his full force. But it's an Intercontinental title match because I think at this point Road Dogg is the IC champ, which I love. But it's a four-way, so it's Road Dogg versus Goldust versus the Big Valboski versus Ken Shamrock. And there's a whole lot of interweaving and craziness here. But I'll let you kind of take it from here, but I do love that when Road Dogg comes out, he's like, somebody roll this dog a bone. Fucking, yes.
It's around
dude.
that time. He starts adding that to the repertoire, man. And I like when Val Venus comes out, there's a sign that says, I toss salad. Like,
That's my note.
things that just won't pass in today's age, man. Then when he comes out, Big Valboski always has something to say. He's like, that big belt could never keep the Big Valboski's pants on. Hello, ladies.
Goldust comes down with a young lady, very attractive, very sexy. We find out is actually Ken Shamrock's little sister, Ryan.
Shamrock, yeah.
And apparently we find out even more than that Ryan's not, she's just getting passed around like a blunt, Steve. Everybody's had a turn.
Even Ryan, even Ken.
Blue Meanie doesn't seem to be a big ass fan of her, but Ken Shamrock's got to be livid. I mean, he's not really saying a lot. You know, Ken Shamrock's only communication in ring is to scream. But he's here too. And obviously he's in the mix because he's pissed off his sister's getting dicked down so much, especially by Goldust. If that's when you're like, hey, come on. Seriously?
Yeah.
Mom
Like,
and
you're not
Dad,
gonna
how are
bring
you going to explain this to Mom and Dad?
Yeah, you can't bring him back home. And in this match, there's a lot of DDT action. By the way, the stipulation of this match, it's a 4 corners elimination match, which I always found those weird. Like, you know, I think it's the only action that matters is the in-ring action. So let's say you're the champ, but if you're not in the ring, actually, no, I take that back. It's an elimination. So I got it mixed up with the other kind of match where if you're not in the ring and you're the champ, but if the person does the pinning, they become the champ. But anyway, sidetrack Sal.
But you have to keep, like, it starts with 2 guys, right? So even if you're not the champ, those 2 guys, one can get eliminated. If you get eliminated, you're gone. But that means, like, if you have the belt, you get eliminated first or second or whatever, they could be competing for the belt, and you're the guy that actually technically has it, but you're in the back because you lost. It is wacky. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But, you know, I do love me. Everybody gets their turn, but I feel like Road Dogg is the star of this show. Obviously, he's got the pop. He's got such a more charisma than anybody other than Goldust's weird fucking energy that he has. And I mean, Val Venus is also hilarious, but he's got that shake, rattle, and roll move. He's got his weird, like, punch move that he does. I mean, this is great. I love seeing Road Dogg in full effect.
I call that knee drop the shiggity diggity. I don't know if it ever had a name. It just seemed apt, and because that's what he's doing, the shiggity diggity and the.
He's got fucking moves, Steve. You get this guy on a dance floor. I bet Road Dogg could fucking surprise your ass.
Set it off, man.
But you know, as we said, the rules are weird, but it really doesn't really matter too much because Val Venus and Ken Shamrock basically end up just eliminating themselves. They get in a fight outside the ring. I just got to give a shout out to Val Venus because what a great, just simple, obvious option for just a guy like a persona, but absolutely nailed it. And I got to say, his creepy guy off camera in a porno voice that he does so perfectly is I don't know if that's how he doesn't really talk like that, but just he's great, man. What a great fucking what a great persona.
And now it's just one-on-one. And you know, Ken Shamrock, he drops off some belly suplexes before he departs, man. So now it's Road Dogg and Goldust. And Road Dogg, he ends up getting the pin because Ryan Shamrock interferes when Goldust is thrown into the ropes. I don't know if it was intentional or inadvertently grabbed his leg, and that's what cost him the match.
I think what happened was Goldust was like going to throw Road Dogg at the ring ropes, but Road Dogg reversed that move and sent Goldust at the ring ropes. So Ryan apparently is blind and only was just like knew that whoever hit the ring rope she had to grab. She didn't pay attention that her boyfriend was that person. So yeah, she just fucked it up. And then everybody got pissed. Blue Meanie had been throwing shade at her constantly throughout the match, just kind of jawing at her. And when this happened, he's like, what the fuck? He's like getting behind Goldust, like, you believe this fucking bitch? Fuck.
She
and
had one
Goldust
job.
is pissed. And he's like, get the fuck back. Get it back into the weird fucking gimp room. We'll figure out what to do with you.
Yeah, put that ball back on your mouth. And Road Dogg is still the IC champ, man. So all's well in DX land for now.
Yeah.
And we cut back to Big Show, and he's being taken away by cops in the back of a Ford Taurus. I don't know. Vince didn't have the extra funds to get real police cars. But it's like, all right, we get it. It's entertainment, but
Get one of those security guards to put him in the back of a car. But I do like the idea that a guy was like a rookie cop in Philadelphia and this was real. And they're like, hey, we got to arrest some guy over at the wrestling match. And he gets there and he's like, like, I can't. How do we arrest this guy? Fucking boss?
shit, with a gun?
Yeah, dude, just fine. We got to put him down because cut him in half or something. What the fuck?
It's on my pay grade.
These cuffs don't even fit on him. Shit.
We get the backstory to the Triple H and Kane fiasco, and we see that Chyna, she catches a fireball to the face from Kane, and it was on accident. He didn't mean to do it. And then in the next clip, we see Kane catch a flamethrower to the face by, I think that was Goldust.
Fucking like Sergeant Slaughter style. Maybe he is like he pulled that, like he got it on loan. A lot of flame throwing going on. A lot of people getting burnt. Chyna caught one. She's out. She's in. We'll get to Chyna later because this version of Chyna, we could talk about it. But and also there's some weird like connection that Chyna and Kane have too that they keep alluding to. Like maybe she has like some sort of Stockholm syndrome from the attack where she might be digging on him a little bit. We don't know. It's all fucked up right now because I think Triple H doesn't have he's out of sorts. He doesn't got his fucking ace. But to add weirdness to this, Kane's coming out at the beginning of this, and he gets attacked by the San Diego Chicken, which weird enough, weird promo, whatever. He starts whooping the chicken's ass, takes his helmet off. And goddamn it, Steve, it's Pete Rose.
Charlie Hustle, baby.
King's like just keeps going, Pete. Like his brother just fucking ran out on the fucking ring. But Pete Rose is here, Steve. I like what he thought he was gonna do. I don't know. Apparently, I think Kane fucked him up in the last WrestleMania. Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's weird. He gets basically pulled out of WrestleMania with a chicken suit on, but a Pete Rose head sticking out of it. And that's, I guess that's great for Pete. I don't know.
Hey, man, he needed money at the time. And I'm like, I think he probably still might want to cash in on a WrestleMania or two, man.
Probably.
But, yeah, because he caught a choke slam from Kane from the previous WrestleMania 14. And I think the plan was to make this a reoccurring thing, like have him show up in random ways.
Well, he caught a tombstone this time, which fuck that. If I'm a civilian, that's not a move I'm going to take. You can choke slam me, but I do not want to take that fucking shit. But he does, so salute to Pete Rose. Fucking, you'd think it would happen in Cincy. I give him more to the Reds than the Philadelphia Phillies, but I guess he was a Philly at one point. I guess, you know what, Pete? You got to get paid, so you got that.
Got debts to pay off, man. And then, as Kane is waiting for Triple H, the music comes on, but Triple H sneaks attacks, man. He comes from behind and, they get to it. And they're going back and forth. And eventually China comes out. And I like this version of China. She's femmed up.
Yeah, she definitely is more feminine, just bodied up, just looking. The cakes are like, she's got that little
Cakes look nice.
The booty's coming out. She's got some weird leather on, but that, that is what it is. But China, hell yeah. And I get it. Every man in this ring might want a piece. Seems like maybe Kane wants it. And like, her allegiance is in question here. She comes out and they're like not really sure what's going on. She bodies the fucking steel stairs and just throws him in the ring.
At this point, we think that she's in allegiance with Kane. Because Triple H, like you said, he's all out of sorts, and at some point she comes into the ring with a chair and she whacks Kane in the back, and that happens. Triple H, he cracks Kane with the chair, and he's just still not going down. Keeps hitting that motherfucker and hitting him, and then eventually hits him with the pedigree. And China and Trips, they are embracing again. And
it's like Macho and Elizabeth, Steve.
Not quite, like when nobody's crying, you don't see any tears in the audience, but we're just glad to see DX reunited. The gang is back.
Hell yeah.
I think.
Kinda, maybe. But I love this because what has been told to us is that maybe Kane and China were something, and maybe Kane had some feelings for China. So he gets betrayed. Triple H carries this beautiful version of China away. They're celebrating. They're in love. And Kane just like alone, like has to slowly walk away from the ring. It's like, man, I just guess I'm going to go jack off. Kane's going to go have a sad jerk in his fucking hotel room with some McDonald's. Been there, bud. It's okay. It's all right. But Kane does win. I mean, he didn't win the pussy, but he won via DQ, Steve. But he didn't win the game of love. And, it's hard to when you got that crazy mask on.
Yeah, she's for everybody. It was just your turn. And backstage, we have Kevin Kelly, and he's interviewing Vince McMahon. And he's just like, you know what? He has the best referee shirt because I'm going to be the main event referee.
I got to go do some push-ups, Kev. Oh, Kelly is such a fucking chud, dude.
He is severe chud.
And then I want to call this a smoke it if you got it match, but this is Sable versus Tori, Steve. I don't think we really wanted this, but I mean, you could do worse,
Time to get cheese for them pretzels. And before that match, we get a big pun sighting. R.I.P.
Oh,
man.
hell yeah. He did the party too, Steve. Shane O'Mac invited him. Shane O got to introduce him. I love that. The ultimate rich white boy's like, look who my dad bought us, guys. Big pun. Bitches.
Do my middle-aged rich man dance. And Sable, she can't work a match, can't work a mic, man. I thank God she was hot because that's all we cared about. By today's standards, this match, even by those standards of the time, man, it was a snooze fest. Luckily, it only lasted 5 minutes. She's going against Tori, and I forgot about Tori. She had a strong face, but a nice physique. What did Ice Cube say? Was it body like Beyonce, face like Andre? Ooh, girl, you kind of strong, Jay.
Well, what's Strange is the fucking outfit, Steve. I don't get the cat Shira, whatever the catscapades shit she has on, because it
Yeah.
looks like it's painted on, and I think even King says it, but it's wacky. Hey Shira, fucking chill out. But yeah, it's not great. We get some Sable bombs. I mean, Sable can't wait to just go, you guys ready to grind? And just
Yeah.
stiffly, I mean, come on, lady. Look like a 40-year-old like stripper. It's just why it's just not good. But she is hot. And this was like right off, well, not right
Playboy.
off the Playboy. We'd seen it, Steve. We all wanted to see more of it. So shout out. But this ain't great.
Yeah, wrestling is not her thing, man. There's a lot of botchness in the match, the botched reversals. They try to do that serious of like, okay, let me do a schoolboy pin roll up, and then like I'm gonna reverse it. Like they couldn't even get that right. It was all like staggered
And like really slow like kicks and shit where they're like ducking under it. It's like this. God damn. It's like in half speed. But it doesn't matter, Steve, because at a certain point, somebody who I forgot existed, but one of the most terrifying humans ever, this person named Nicole Bass comes out. You want to talk about another Howard Stern connection?
another Howard Stern connection. Yeah.
Nicole Bass comes out. Nicole Bass is a woman that,
Check the birth certificates.
I mean, put her against Lawrence Taylor in like a one-on-one. I don't know who's gonna win, Steve, because this woman is built like goddamn fucking every brick shit house. She's gigantic.
Shit. Lawrence Taylor, put her against the 91 Giants.
I have a great, actually, you know what it is? She looks like Sid Vicious's sister,
Ooh.
like literally, with maybe tits, or maybe it's just a crazy pec. Like I don't know, but she looks nuts. She comes out, she fucks Tori up, cat girl. She fucks Tori up with like a gorilla press. And just something hilarious because King can't help but say funny things. The first time they cut to Nicole Bass like coming up to the ring, he's like, "What the hell is that?" It's like,
Dude, she caught that her whole life. R.I.P. to Nicole Bass, man. Like, people would always say that about her. Like,
Well,
it's unfortunate.
I mean, she's so masculine and so fucking just jacked. It just is she's a crazy human to look at because it's just confusing. But she fucks Tori up. She fucking easily like power presses her. And I like Sable's like, "Hey, thanks, girlfriend."
Yeah.
And that's it.
She gets a Sable bomb in the pin, and she's still the champ. And the next match, we have the European Championship of Shane McMahon with Test versus X.
And the promos before, I mean, we were talking about DX being fully back, and that's basically the tone of the promo. I mean, Triple X, X-Pac is just not really saying a lot, and Triple H is like, "We're finally back. It's the family. We're all here. My puss is here. X-Pac, he's just gonna whoop the fucking the boss's son's ass." And X-Pac rips off Mr. T's line from Rocky. He's predicting pain. But I gotta say, dude, I was never the biggest like X-Pac fan as far as his wrestling goes, but this ain't a shitty match by any means. Like, it's not the worst match.
It's actually one of the better matches, man. Shane McMahon, like, these are early signs of him actually having like athleticism. Like, there's a leapfrog when Shane is thrown into the ropes, and like he leaps. Like, Shane has got hops, bro.
I feel like that was one of those where he was like psyched up and he couldn't believe how high he got. Like, because he was like, "Yeah."
I couldn't believe it, man.
No, hell no. But I do like as X-Pac is coming out because, Shane comes out. He's a homer. He's got everybody on his side. He's got the Mean Street Posse fucking ringside too. His boys are there. But X-Pac comes out. Nobody comes out with him, which I thought was kind of weird. He's got his own group, but they don't come out. And the people who do come out with him are Patterson and Briscoe, who try to feebly whip his ass, and they can't. X-Pac, you son of a bitch. But he eventually gets to the ring, Steve. And, Test is here again because he's part of the committee or what are they called?
Corporation.
The corporation. Yeah. And he basically is just there to fuck he just interferes a lot,
And I like how Shane has X-Chump like taped onto his jersey. And at some point he has this flying crane. Like Shane has like some wit to him. Like, you would think he would be like this, like stick up his ass kind of character, but I always found him funny, man.
Yeah, and in this, he's kind of doing the comical, like running away thing for a lot of the beginning of the match, which allows Tess to like smack X-Pac around a lot.
Yeah.
At one point, Shane gets a hold of like a weightlifting belt, I guess, whips the dog shit at Xbox. I can't say this dude's name right for the fucking life of me. But I was just like, damn, like he wasn't holding back with that fucking belt. I guess they got to sell something. And that I was like, damn, dude, like chill the fuck out, man. He's bleeding.
He's able to do his version of the people's elbow, the corporate elbow. And he also gets some Bronco busters. And Tess, for his troubles, he gets a Bronco buster, interfering in matches and whatnot. Eventually, Triple H and China show up. And we're like, oh, yeah, X-Pac, he's got this in the bag now. Yeah, X-Pac, he gets the X Factor on Shane. And then out of nowhere, Triple H comes in and gives X-Pac the pedigree. And our hearts are shattered all of a sudden.
What? And he's getting the shit kicked out of him. X-Pac is just being brutalized. Finally, Badass and Road Dogg come out just to save their boy. I think somebody, like one of the commentators is like, well, I guess that's it for the DX is on their way down. And Road Dogg's like, yeah, you tell, no, hell no. You tell fucking Triple H, that dumb motherfucker, he's going down. He says something like that where he took it a little personally, Steve. Road Dogg was fired up.
I don't know if you caught this, but when they come in to save X-Pac, Billy Gunn, he slides past Triple H. Like he is so greased up. Like he couldn't even stop
it when he got on the sled, dude. He almost went all the way through the ring, dude.
Yeah. It's like less baby oil, Billy.
I mean, fucking Ultimate Warrior would blush at that. I mean, he was going full force. I always love that too. That's a skill. That's like a stuntman skill where you're sliding over like the hood of a car. But like a wrestler that can do that smooth, but that was too smooth.
That was too smooth.
That's funny you noticed that because I noticed that too. I was like, this motherfucker almost like flew into the announcing table.
The velocity on that slide, man. And Kane, he's heartbroken and he shows up. After DX comes in, they do their thing. Kane, he's just like, man, I want revenge, damn it.
China, I thought maybe did you get my messages? I just wanted to say. But it's pretty easy to get away from Kane. They basically just are like, oh, he's here, just kind of take the long way around and escape him. But Kane's just sad, man. He thought he was going to get to take home the hottest version of China that we get, and just dick in hand, Kane. It's a stat quo fucking evening for him. That sucks.
Yeah.
Been on there. Been there before, Kane.
Yeah, I sympathize, but at the same time, I don't fuck with you, Kane. And the next match, man, this Hack in the Sack, Hell in the Cell, we get a vignette of what led to all of this between Big Boss Man and the Undertaker. Now, Big Boss Man, he's like one of the heavies of Vince's corporation. He's supposed to protect and serve.
He's moved up to be a federal officer now. He doesn't have any like police officer uniform. He has on like a security.
All black. Yeah. He moved from county to federal. Yeah.
Ugh, I was groaning when I was like, Big Boss Man, Hell in the Cell. Like, I guess they're not going to climb to the top. Like, that ain't going to happen. And this is corporate Undertaker.
not corporate Undertaker. He hasn't done the corporate ministry yet. That hasn't happened. But this is like
he's threatened to take the company because he's like stalking Vince, and he's doing a lot of like Cape Fear shit where he's showing up at Vince's house while Vince is at a Raw taping or something, and he's getting in his head. He even at one point burns Vince's teddy bear and it, like, brings the man to tears, Steve.
Yeah, I don't know if it was supposed to be Vince's teddy bear or Stephanie's, but this was when Undertaker was on his bully shit. And Vince, like, it was hilarious when he's like, "You get away from my home, damn it."
A lot of people just going at Vince right now. But you know, this version of Undertaker, not my favorite. He comes out, he looks like Super Shredder with this like crazy, like coming out to the ring outfit he has on. He almost looks like a character in that movie Travolta did that everyone hated called Battlefield Earth. The
Something
outfit
like
he has,
that,
it's just, it's like, it's really bulky. But what I do like is we get like a used car salesman version of Paul Bearer now, where he's not in like the mortuary white and black. He's got on like a nice like cash. He's got like a little fucking wine burgundy, you know, not quite all the way button joint going on under the sports coat. And I like that.
It's still gross nonetheless. Like, he's got shins coming out of his other chin. Like,
Can't help that,
you know,
Steve.
R.I.P. to William Moody. We love Paul Bearer, but it is what it is. And it's something else about this Taker rendition is his song. I don't like this new metal. And I get they're trying to reflect the times and, you know, keep up and stuff. But like, no, man, this is one of them things that it should be like the Macho Man song. Even when he went to WCW, they didn't change a thing. Like, this is what we know this guy as. Stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's cheesy in a way. It's almost like Lifetime movie-esque. Like if you had an action scene in like a $10 movie that you shot, that's this shredding guitar version of his song is not great, especially with the visual of what we got, you know?
It takes away from the character, man.
Well, you know, but we love Mark Callis, and he's the motherfucker's a legend, so we're not going to hold that against him. But this match isn't great. I like seeing, because what Big Boss Man does well are the punches. So we get some great back and forth punches, but it's just not. It's a slow match. It's kind of boring. Undertaker opens him up, and like his bleeding almost looks like fake ketchup on his forehead, and it looks kind of weird. And then to add like, just to slow it down even more, Boss Man of course has cuffs. He cuffs Undertaker to the cage. And the match is so goddamn bad, Steve, that even the cuffs don't want to be there, and they just break and they become a non-issue.
Get the camera off of us.
But you know, Boss Man, what he is trained in the most is flailing that baton around. So we do get a bunch of great, like, yeah, like, you know, he gets a couple of those in. But
at some point they're both leaking, and it's the same deal with Boss Man, like just gushing out the forehead. And Taker, he hits the tombstone at our mercy, and after all of this, the Brood, they descend from the rafters, Sting style, and it's Gangrel, it's Edge, and Christian in their early renditions. Man, they claw into the cell. They don't show how they got into the cage, but they just like cats, just and they claw an opening into the top of the cell, and then they just lit a noose down. The 90s, bro, the 90s, wild times.
Yeah, it's a noose, and then Undertaker puts the noose on Boss Man, who's unconscious. There are kids in this arena watching. This is WrestleMania, Steve. So this is happening. And then Paul Bearer, who they cut to, has the button. There's a button here, and he's just like, hits the button, and the cage just starts rising. And what we get for the next 30 seconds is the most craziest fucking visual that you could put on. Like, if Think of some kid's mom being like, "Hey guys, I got some pizza rolls." What the fuck? It's like fucking Boss Man's just literally hanging. He's hanging. He's hung, Steve.
I forget the match, but the outcome of the match, I'll never forget, man. I remember my friend Devin, he ordered this pay-per-view, and it's a group of us watching it at his house. And like we were teenagers when that happened, man. So we even though we weren't kids, this still like shocked the shit out of me. Like, whoa.
I mean, it was like a realistic hanging for real. I know he's fine, but he's literally limp, hanging, darkness. Like the only thing we see is just his silhouette because lights are flashing, and then they hard cut from a guy dying on screen, and nobody's like help him, to hey, WrestleMania Rage Party. Come experience the party, because
Big Pun.
That's
Isaac Hayes.
That's a great segue. Guy hanging to death, Rage Party, 1999.
And Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
Rikishi Twerkathon. It's all happening at the Rage Contest.
Who picked this lineup out, man? Big Pun, Isaac Hayes, and Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
I mean, Isaac Hayes was clearly just like a timely get because Chocolate Salty Balls got him famous again. So they were like, come play that. We'll get the South Park fans in here, and then you can sing the Shaft song. And then we'll get Big Pun out here. And then fucking Crash Test Dummies. I don't know. Fucking butthole surfers. Fuck it.
I don't want to be a player no more. Play that song.
God, dude. But I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Big Boss Man, but after seeing this, I mean, this is right up there with Shockmaster in terms of like insane, just hilarious wrestling events.
Yeah, I can't believe how they pull this off, man. There's no slack in the rope. He's just upright.
Well, clearly, if you look, and also Boss Man has all this like bulky shit on, like he has like a bulletproof vest on, like he needs it. But you can see that they have clearly some kind of like thing that it's just like a vest or something with a little tag that's coming out on like behind his neck. But it looks like the shit's like he's being hung. When they cut to the wide and it's just him limp hanging right before they cut to the commercial. Like if I was a parent and I ordered that for a little like 10-year-old kid, I'd be like, turn this fucking, what is this?
I want my money back.
Yeah, dude, I gotta complain to somebody. What the fuck? That's crazy, Steve. But we got to do something here because this shit's falling apart. Vince is everything's falling apart for this guy. He can't get anything right. He doesn't have a ref for the next match. Well, he does now because it's him. And he comes out. The next match is, Steve, this is it. This is the main event.
It's the one we've been waiting on, man. It's the current chap, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, versus Stone Cold as the challenger.
And this is Rock and Steve Austin at the pinnacle, Steve. This is it. I mean, Vince, he's yoked to the tits. He's coming out trying to fucking peck Pop as much as he possibly can. But as he's getting into the ring, getting settled, just kind of getting his referee legs under him, the Heartbreak Kids fucking music comes out of nowhere. And then we get a gigantic amount of time because Shawn Michaels, if he's not wrestling, he's still going to occupy a decent amount of time on these events. He comes out looking like Don Johnson, just looking silky smooth, Steve. Hair freshly permed or whatever, straightened.
Yeah, Don Johnson without the pastels. And we also have an introduction of JR because up until this point, it was Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler. And for this match, we got to have some JR and Lawler. That's the dynamic duo, man. And he comes out to a big pop because we miss good old JR.
So good to see you.
Yeah, man. And Shawn Michaels, he says you cannot have a WrestleMania without HBK. And at this point, he's the commissioner. Between WrestleMania 14 and this one, he was named the commissioner after he had taken some time off, and he retired at the time. And on screen, he's the one calling shots, even though we all know it's really Vince pulling all the strings. And he makes an audible in this plan of Vince's. He says that, hey, you think you're going to be the ref, but there's only one guy who can make that call for a WrestleMania main event, and that guy ain't you, Vinnie Mac, with your Jack LaLanne body physique.
Yeah, dude, you know that hurts. It's like, man, shut up, man. But I love the idea that, one, Vince McMahon doesn't know the WWF rule book that he created, but that in this world, Vince McMahon wrote a bylaw in his own rule book that would allow for somebody else to run his company more than he could. It's like, I can't have that much power. Let me write this one. And then also on the opposite side of that, Shawn Michaels spending like weeks prior to WrestleMania, like in a dark room smoking like butts, like, there's got to be a way I can get this guy out of this. There's got to be some bylaw, just poring over documents and connecting dots and shit. Like, oh, here it is. Got him.
Statute 47.
But you can't be the ref, Vince. Sean says so. And who's going to be the ref now? You think they're going to name somebody else. It's just a regular ass ref, Steve. Just some, and even King's like, just some regular ref? Yeah. Because you know what? They only got so many stars with ref outfits, okay?
It's not Earl Ebner, is it? I think Earl Ebner eventually becomes the ref.
It gets crazy at a certain point. But yeah, it's this is a no DQ match too. I don't know if we mentioned that part of it, but you know, it's going to take just a pinfall or just a straight up death for this match to end.
And Corporation is barred from ringside, so no Pat, no Gerald, no Boss Man, no any of those guys. Ken Shamrock, who's a part of the Corporation at this point,
no chance. But like I said, man, if you wanted to pick a time period where like Stone Cold and The Rock were at the height of their popularity, I mean, this has to be close to it. They both have their gimmicks fully cemented. I think Rock is the actual champ now.
Yeah.
Still got the fucking sideburns, loving that. Stone Cold salty as all goddamn hell, love that. And I mean, this is a match that you would expect. We got to see a little from everybody, and I was digging it. They caught me off guard with a couple of things. You got to destroy the Spanish language table in a pay-per-view, and it takes two takes for them, because I think Stone Cold tries to do it once and it just doesn't give. So they have to like do something and then get them back on, and eventually they get what they want. But I thought that was fucking funny.
And they take it outside immediately, man. Rock, he hits a rock bottom once they're back inside, and it's got like Stone Cold kicks out of it, which I don't know if that's happened before with the rock bottom. Even Tim White, he catches a rock bottom. The referee, that's who it was. Tim White, RIP to him. He passed away about a year or two ago, and he ends up catching a stunner. Rock kicks out of that, and I don't know if anyone's ever kicked out of the stunner before. Maybe Taker, but I digress. Vince shows up and he jumps Stone Cold, and Vince is followed by Mankind. And, he was supposed to be the guest referee anyway. He still got his referee garb on with Sacco intact. And, he's there to be the equalizer. Like, hey, I don't like Vince right now. I don't like Rock right now. They both screwed me. So, hey, I'm on your side, Austin.
Plus, I have stripes on my shirt, so I'm ready to go. It's official.
And we get another rock bottom, and then the people's elbow. And Austin, he's about to get another rock bottom, but he breaks out of that. He hits Rock with a stunner, and Mankind now is ref. He counts 1, 2, 3, and Austin is the new champ.
And Vince McMahon's just losing it. He's weeping openly. He's maybe has shit himself or pissed himself, just out of complete anger and frustration. But he's in the throes of it, Steve. And Steve Austin is not hesitating to give him a nice hello, how do you do in his own way, having a couple of Steve Weisers right in his face. It's your boss, Steve. Just take it easy.
And that's what we loved about it, man. If it wasn't your teacher or your boss or your principal, we all wanted to do that.
I also love Steve Austin is like, looks at Earl Hebner and is like, you got to have one too, my guy. So Earl Hebner even fucking does a little fucking Steve Weiser of his own. I love that.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Earl, man. He's a twin. His brother Dave is still with us, but Earl Ebner was the guy that he was the ref for a lot of the big ticket items, man. He's in there celebrating, and we love that dude. And Vince, he gets socked and a stunner, because what a way to go out, man. This is the main event. We want to see the big boss get his comeuppance.
I mean, they cut the event with Vince soaked, weeping. He's soaked in beer, just like crawling on the ground like a lunatic. And all is right with the world, Steve, except for DX. It's in shambles, and that made me sad. But Steve Austin, he's out here. He's gonna make everything okay.
Champ. Oh yeah, all is all right, man. And that's how we wrap this up. I feel like this main event makes up for the rest of the event, because for a WrestleMania, I feel like it was somewhat underwhelming, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff to make fun of and laugh about, especially the Big Boss Man hanging incident, which will forever live in my brain. And if you could have heard me laughing when it started, they cut to him just hanging and like the Frank Reynolds where he's just like dangling there. It fucking it just made me laugh because Kendra's like came up, she's like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "You wouldn't even believe me if I told you what the fuck just happened." Oh my god. But yeah, it was, it was what it was, but that was a good match. There was some like goodness like sprinkled into all this, It wasn't a total loss.
Not all. Yeah, the X-Pac Shane match was decent, and you got to see Gorilla for what it's worth, man. That was his last moment with WWF. So yeah, and of course, Boys to Men, you can never go wrong. Isaac Hayes, Big Pun is in the building. They have to show those celebrity sightings for WrestleMania. It's like mandatory at this point. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
Well, we were talking about it off air, but there's so much 90s stuff this week that I got to enjoy. And I'm not going to like take up a bunch of time, but the new Ghostbusters movie, if you like the old ones, check it out. It's not going to blow your mind, but I, as a fan, really enjoyed it. The Quiet on the Set documentary, as a fan of Nickelodeon, if you want to hear some dark shit about a certain time period and a few people in Nickelodeon, it's definitely interesting and crazy. It's not very fun, but it's definitely worth a watch if you got Max. And my biggest thing, and what I'm so excited about and was really happy that it was good, was the X-Men 97 cartoon, man. They have to redo it. They brought it back after all this time, and there's things that are a little bit different, but all in all, it was fucking fun, man. It took me back to a time and place, and it's fun to watch. I'm glad they brought that back and didn't screw it up.
How many seasons? Just one so far?
For the X-Men cartoon?
Yeah.
This is the first season. They only have 2 episodes out now. They're releasing like 1 or 2 a week, but the first 2 were fucking bangers, dude. And they're pretty hardcore for like being on a Disney Plus cartoon show. I know it's like not necessarily for just kids, but I mean, there's a raid there's almost like a January 6th-esque raid on the Capitol and stuff like that, like some crazy stuff in it that I wasn't expecting. And it's just it's cool to see it back. I love X-Men, so love it.
Stan Lee would be proud.
Hell yeah. What about you, man?
Man, all I have is in 1995, Frasier is airing Someone to Watch Over Me, and that was weird because he's being stalked by somebody. And yeah, we'll get back to Frasier eventually, man. But I watched that when it was like, man, like a stalker for a radio personality. in 1996, Martin is airing The Tooth Will Set You Free. And I don't know, that might be one of my least favorite episodes because that is towards the end and you see less involvement of Tisha Campbell. And knowing what we know now, the focus was more so on the other characters. And this, it's just a silly ass episode arc because like Pam, she goes to the dentist and she ends up falling into a hypnotic spell by the dentist, and like she ends up like anytime somebody like whatever sets her off, I think it's a bell ringing, she becomes Martin and acts like Martin. And then when the bell rings again, she's back to Pam. It's like they're getting ridiculous as the end of this.
They got to figure it out, man. They lost a crucial piece because all that, it's like she's on a business trip.
She's in the episode. Tisha Campbell's actually in the episode, but still, like, it's just when they start going super slapstick and cartoonish and shit. Like, I think at some point there's actually like a Looney Tunes like graphic where they're like, dude, you're really trying to do whatever it takes at this point, Martin. Damn. But yeah, that's all I got, man. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your little sister, "Ooh, baby, I like it raw." Hey, now when I say little sister, we're talking about little sisters who are adults.
Of age.
Of age, yeah. So happened in the 90s enthusiasts, yeah, keep that in mind whenever I do that. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please check out Food Show Fanatics, even though Matt doesn't promote that show as much on this show. I think I talk about it more than he does. Check out Crushgasm every Wednesday with Kidra B and my guy Clark the Shark on podcast. So this is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the
90s. Hey girl, it's the 90s.
Do a great job of promoting it.
Your ass better call somebody.